Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce and Joyce. We're doing drama. We're saving the drama.
Genre.
Yeah. Favorite genre. Saving the drama for drama, as it turns out.
So is it too early for you to talk about Stranger Things? Like
Yes.
10 seconds in.
I think we'll wait maybe like 5 minutes before I get into Stranger Things. But I do have it predicted for multiple major nominations. But no, drama, Joyce. We've not talked about this one very much, I feel like, because we just know Succession is the best. And we've kind of like,
True.
I feel
so we
like
can end this right now.
this is great. See you next week. No, it's just the best. It remains the best. And nothing, I don't think, on this list has any chance of really unseating it. So it does feel like a little bit of like hurry up and wait for the nominations to see how many Succession gets and how many Squid Game gets. Those are the two top shows. I could see them both being the two top nominations getters overall for the whole ceremony. And then just sit there and we'll spend about 3 months debating the merits of both shows and hoping Succession wins, and then maybe not being surprised if Squid Game actually does win in the eventual show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a beta version of like The Crown last year when we knew like The Crown was winning, but like the discourse around The Crown was like, could it actually go 7 for 7? And it did. Whereas Succession can't go 7 for 7.
No, it'd probably go
like it could
3.
just win one acting category. Like I'm not even confident it can win all 3 of them that they're submitting in. It has no lead actress.
Has no lead actress, and obviously I think of the 3, I still think the supporting actress category is its toughest break, and it's not going to win there. I do think that just I know Lee Jung-jae won a lot in the winter for Squid Game, and seemingly our Succession father-son duo split their own votes in those cases. I would argue Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong. It feels like
Jeremy still won the Globe.
Yes, but not the SAG,
not
the Critics' Choice
or Critics' Choice. Yeah.
And so I feel like they maybe split the vote there. Though you could argue Critics' Choice was like chasing clout on the other show, and on SAG. And
and like the SAG win for Lee Jung-jae is not really surprising. Like SAG is the most populous group out of all of them. And the Succession had 3 nominees in that category because SAG only has single categories for TV.
Right.
So Kieran was also there.
So we'll get to the acting categories, but so Succession and Squid Game, then Ozark, which I've now put back in, obviously. Had it in there. Made a mistake not having it in. Just I don't care about the show that much.
Would you, like, on the very slim chance that Ozark is snubbed, like how vindicated would you feel for not having it for like 90 seconds?
Not that, I mean, somewhat vindicated, but not that vindicated, because I immediately ran right into the warm embrace of conformity and put it right back in. So I did not think that I would be that vindicated, but I have it in. And I still have Better Call Saul in as well. No kidding. But those 4 I feel like are great.
Yeah. I mean, again, I just want Better Call Saul to win anything, any category. I don't care what it is. It's not going to win drama series.
No.
Just win something.
Maybe a writing category?
That's like Jesse Armstrong.
I know. That's the thing.
I think just win like any like sound. I don't care. It's never even been nominated for cinematography, which is insane.
Pretty nuts. And I was talking to one of my friends this weekend, actually, and he was like, oh, the show is so cinematic. If you think about it, like, and it's way more cinematic than like Obi-Wan as a comp, because like a lot of the Marvel shows or Star Wars shows, they do feel like budgetarily constrained with their FX, let's say.
Ironically.
And like Better Call Saul obviously is not like an FX show. It's a visual effects show, not like an FX series.
It's just like,
but it's cinematic.
Yeah, like it's like artistic in like the way shots are set up. Correct. And the layers of meaning behind them. Right.
So we both have those 4, and then I have Yellowstone and Severance, which are the top 6 in our odds.
Oh, you put Severance back in.
I did put Severance back in. Somebody shamed me in the comments and said any list that doesn't have Severance in there is invalid, and I was like, well, I don't want to be invalid, so I better throw it back in there. I do love Severance. Here's the thing.
That much validation.
I do need that much validation, but here's the thing. I was like, again, we talked about this when we talk about limited series and just in general. There's, as you might know this, Joyce, there's a lot of television, and it's hard for shows to break through, especially new shows or old shows coming back. So people are just inundated with TV. So then I have to like, I try to like what's the galaxy brain 3D chess moves, and I look at how Apple really does seemingly push their wares incredibly well, more so than maybe some of the other streamers, Netflix accepted. And so while Severance is new, I feel like it's just continually out there, like in tweets and out there just in the conversation. And while it's a new show, I think it will have more staying power than something like Yellow Jackets by comparison for a twisty freshman drama on a fledgling network.
I think like Severance is fine because it has, and I don't think it's as huge as something like, let's say like Fleabag was 3 years ago when like everyone was just obsessed with it when season 2 dropped in May. Like it was so quick how it went from like 0 to 100, like Fleabag season 2, you know, and like everyone was loving it and talking about it and like tweeting about it. And I don't think it's like the buzz on it has reached that level even when it was airing. It felt like it slowly like grew throughout the season and in April, but like there's like enough blue check marks tweeting about it that like it's fine. Like between that and like if like of Apple's dramas like that, like Morning Show and Pachinko, I guess like it's the most safe out of those 3.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the one that they've spent the most time on.
Yes, like they know this is like their drama ticket this year.
Yeah. So that leads me to believe with their like the force of their will and just in general, like you said, the blue checks into the show, that'll help. So those are the 6. Then I go a little loopy, and I think we probably differ based on I have Stranger Things. Here we go. I didn't say
Stranger Things.
Okay.
I had it before you did. So.
You did. Love this new season. Remain infatuated with this new season. It's the Netflix's biggest hit, I believe they said. Certainly, or like on pace to be. So that not like a lot of people have watched it. And if you're a TV Academy member who hasn't watched it, I'm going to guess your kids have, or friends of your kids have, or grandchildren have, something like that. Seemingly everybody's watched this season, even more so than Obi-Wan as a comp, again, because it came out at the same time. And I think that was like a little bit of a online debate.
Well, also, like, why is that? Like, what? Stranger Things has always been popular.
Sure, but it's been off for so long. I guess.
Yeah, it's in its 4th season. Like, what? Like, people were waiting for it to come back. Like, why is it surprising that it's huge?
It's not that surprising. I guess it's how huge because of how long it is. And I also think the season is obviously trending darker, but like it reminds me a little of, I think it's actually much better than the Harry Potter movies, not necessarily the books. But it does how the movies kept getting darker and darker as the kids got older.
I've never finished the full Harry Potter series, so I can't.
The books are good. The movies are mediocre.
I watched
some of them are great.
Yeah.
Some of them are not.
Yeah, I watched 4 movies. And the second one I watched completely in Spanish.
Oh, good.
That was in high school, and it was like after our like AP Calc tests. So it was like my senior year, and then we had like a month left of school. So then my teacher was just like, "Oh, we will just watch movies." So like, remember back then you had a TV on a card from the AV room with the VCR.
Sure.
So like he wheeled that in, like popped in like Harry Potter, but he couldn't figure out how to turn it off of SAP. So watched the whole thing in Spanish.
Wow.
That's my Harry Potter detour.
So we have 7 for 7. Now 8, I've gone back and for my 8th show here. I've gone back and forth with a lot of options, Joyce. I had Euphoria in there for a while. I've since taken it out. Had Yellow Jackets, since taken it out. Had Winning Time, since taking it out. I'm now left with This Is Us as my final show.
Final? So you're going to keep it for the next 4 weeks?
Final for right this second. I mean, not final. Not really final.
So your current, number 8.
My current one is This Is Us.
Okay.
So
because it's over?
Well, I think the last season had a lot of like warm embrace. I think the fans seemingly were satisfied. The industry, and again, the coverage of the show is like at a high point. People do seem to like it. It's a past nominee, obviously, in like lower competitive seasons. And I look at like shows like Yellow Jackets and Euphoria, and it's, you know, they're kind of in the same ballpark, I feel like, and maybe we'll end up like, if not splitting their own vote. Like, I think there are going to be people who love Euphoria, and I think there's going to be people who love Yellow Jackets. They feel a little more edgier than some of these other shows. And then you have like Winning Time. I just put in there because I feel like people like the Lakers, but I don't think that's enough. And Bridgerton, I think, is the other option, but I think the Stranger Things explosion of popularity has pushed aside Bridgerton. I think Stranger Things will end up being like the popular show. even more than Squid Game.
But that's not like exclusionary to Bridgerton because it's an unlimited ballot. So you
True.
could still vote for both of them.
I guess I just think more people are going to submit This Is Us.
You think like some people were like, I'm voting for Bridgerton, but now that I've seen Stranger Things,
Yeah.
they're going to vanish.
Also, because I think Bridgerton was like a placeholder for people who are like, I want to put something in there that's popular. I don't think the second season was as popular as the first or as culturally noisy.
How many voters do you think are nominating shows because they're popular?
Probably a good deal.
Like that as the reason.
I think a good deal.
Like, how would you as a voter vote for best drama series? Obviously Succession.
I would vote for my favorite. So it would be Succession and Stranger Things.
You wouldn't vote for something because you know the show is popular.
I wouldn't personally, but I think people do.
I wouldn't either.
I think people do though. Because they want to be like, it's a cool show. It's popular.
Yeah, I don't understand that concept. Like when you hear people say like, I want to be on the winning team.
Yeah, people want to be on the winning team. That's why I think they'll vote for not Bridgerton. I think they'll vote for This Is Us. But anyway, do you still have This Is Us?
I don't have, no, I have Bridgerton.
You have Bridgerton still.
It's my placeholder. My number 8. So yeah. I mean, I can be convinced to put something else in there, but I have nothing else that I feel confident in to switch it out at the moment. Because I still do think like the high visibility you get from being on Netflix, and it was nominated last year, obviously.
Right.
Like still helps it, especially on an unlimited ballot. And like all these other shows you just named, and once like you didn't name, like what else is there?
Many.
Many. Well, but yeah, Pachinko.
Killing Eve, Gilded Age, Morning Show, The Good Fight, our beloved Tokyo Vice, Loki.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's why I think don't you think This Is Us is actually like Bridgerton is popular in that inscrutable Netflix way where it's like 800 million hours have been viewed. And who knows what that actually means. This Is Us remains actually was a popular show on broadcast to its finish, right? Like it's like, obviously it's not getting like 50 million people watching, but it had like good ratings. And I think it had like, you could argue more a longer stay in the discourse than Bridgerton did, even if Bridgerton had a 50 billion view hours. So I don't know. I feel like you could argue that This Is Us is incredibly popular.
Well, yeah, like This Is Us also aired over a longer period of time.
Right.
Not just one weekend. I think it's just hard because we don't have actual numbers, but also like with This Is Us, like we have seen how it's fallen out already from drama series in more competitive years. And last year, obviously a lot more open and it made it back in.
Right.
And this year, a lot of turnover in this category.
Yeah.
So it's like, can it maintain its spot when all these heavy hitters are returning and you have like new heavyweights like Squid Game?
I think it can, because I think that if you're going through, and it could be whatever, like you said, unlimited ballot and all these things, but if you're looking at the seasons that it would be, if we agree on like the 7 shows, which we seemingly do, I think the season of Bridgerton is not as successful as this last season of This Is Us. And so like you could argue, while it's a stronger year than the last time This Is Us made it in. And so like maybe it would not make it in based on that. A lot of the competition in that spot are not as strong, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like the top 7 shows are really strong. Like I don't think This Is Us can win, but I don't think there's an 8th show that's like a slam dunk, like Bridgerton, like Yellow Jackets, Euphoria, like we said, the many shows. They just all have like a little bit of there's like a pro and a con to each of those. And This Is Us maybe has the least cons.
The thing with This Is Us too is that I think it'll always have like its like diehard supporters, or like it's over now. Like I think like its baseline of support never changed, but I think maybe the wider like if you're like more of like casual supporter of it, I think that maybe has like dissipated as like, I mean that usually happens as a show like airs and ages, because like I know like some people who just watch all 6 seasons, right? Like they just love the show. And I know some people who, they like the show like from the beginning and they just kind of like stopped watching it over the years. Right. And I feel like maybe that has also happened with Academy voters as well. And also I feel like this final season, like they're very focused on getting Mandy Moore her flowers.
Yeah, so
that seems like what they're more focused on than like drama series.
Certainly true. And let's go to that category. I have Mandy Moore in, certainly. For
I do too.
for This Is Us. My other nominees, I have Laura Linney up top for winning for Ozark. No offense to Zendaya, who rules on Euphoria and is a somewhat reigning champ here, at least one for the last season of Euphoria. I don't think she's gonna win this time, even though she was excellent on the second season.
Yeah, I don't even know if like Laura will win, but I do have like Laura in first.
So I have Lauren Zendaya. I have Melanie Linsky. Joyce, I don't know if you've noticed this, but she's been very out there.
Oh yeah, she was on the last week, or was last week? The cover Variety of their drama.
Yes.
Award.
Yes, she's had a lot of profiles written about her, and people really love Melanie Linsky.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like her time.
Yeah.
Right. So I have her in for Yellow Jackets. I think she is of the lead actor competitors from Yellow Jackets, including Juliette Lewis. She is the runaway favorite there from the show. I think she will represent the show here. And then I have Kelly Riley from Yellowstone.
I have her too.
And then Mandy Moore, and then Jennifer Aniston in my last spot for Morning Show.
I've thought about like dropping Jen.
So I thought about it too. I don't know who I would put in. The other options are obviously Killing Eve, Jodie Comer, and Sandra Oh. The final season of Killing Eve, Joyce, pretty divisive. So not sure.
Divisive or just like
outright loathed.
Wild.
Yeah. So not a bunch of fans around that, not a bunch of support around that. Though I think everybody always agrees that the actresses are amazing.
Yeah, like they're innocent.
They were not they were let down perhaps by the way the show ended, but not the character, not themselves.
Yeah, and again, this is an acting category, so
right.
they
could definitely get in. Yeah. Carrie Coon for Gilded Age. I just feel like not a lot of people are I love Carrie Coon so much. I just feel like not a lot of people are focused on that show or talking about it.
No, it seems like it's just one of those shows that's just gonna run for several seasons and not really touch the Emmys in like a huge way.
And then there's some big names here, not as big as like the best actors in a limited series category, like we were looking at the other day with the many best actress winners. So I'm not convinced any of these other people can get in, though. I feel like we would have to mention Britt Lauer for Severance. That's a possibility. Just if the Severance train really takes off or pulls out of the station, I guess.
Yeah, I've always felt like she's more of a season 2 nominee.
I think she is also probably because she was an relatively unknown actor here. But she's great on the show. And I think people really love the twist ending with her character. And it kind of reframes the whole performance in a really fun way. So
like, I don't know why people were so blown away by that. Like, I think she was good in the finale, but I'm like, I was blown away leading up to that.
I was blown away. She's quite good on the show, I feel like. You know who she looks like? She looks like the lead actress from Chuck, Yvonne Strahovski.
But like a redhead.
Yes. So that's our best actress category, Joyce. I don't know. I don't really have a lot here. Like you said, I think the 5 are pretty set, and then we'll see what the 6th is. Jennifer Aniston.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Reese Witherspoon, she got the SAG nomination this year. Yes. She did not get in for season 1, and like Jen won for season 1. I feel like maybe that was just kind of, there was just not many options for SAG.
I think so. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about the morning show. And I don't get the sense that even Apple is putting them out there very much.
Like, because they know like Severance is their number 1. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Julia Lewis, Katrina Balfe still hanging in here.
You know, couldn't get that Oscar nomination, but
Emmy for like, what was the season 6?
Yeah.
Or 5, 6, I don't know. Yeah.
Joyce, I have good news here. I'm going to interrupt. I just got an email.
Okay.
HBO Max for news drama series Tokyo Vice for a 2nd season.
Our fave. And who do you just talk to?
I talked to Sho Kasamatsu, who plays Sato on the
huge
first season.
Backstreet Boys fan.
Huge Backstreet Boys fan. Great show. So we're very thrilled about that. So maybe season 2 we'll have it in here for a drama series, but not this year, I don't think.
I mean, on our dream ballot.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Dream ballot.
Best actor, Joyce. Succession all the way. I have Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong, Lee Young Jae, like we've said, and Jason Bateman for Ozark. And then Sterling K. Brown and Kevin Costner I put in. I snubbed Bob Odenkirk and I snubbed Adam Scott.
Over to Bob.
And Adam Scott.
Yeah, I dropped Adam and put Sterling back in because I felt weird having Mandy but not Sterling.
Yeah. My issue with Adam is great performance. I do wonder if there'll be any even though he started as a drama actor, I think people think of him as like a comedy guy, foolhardily think of him as a comedy guy. And then is he going to get like a demerit because it's like he's just a comedy guy doing drama type of thing, even though we know that's not real because he was a drama actor first, basically. So
I just think it the acting style on that show and just the kind of the structure of the show and the whole premise setup is not the type that we see voters like typically go for.
mm-hmm.
You know, it's like very restrained. Not that they haven't like nominated those types of performances before, but it's just it's very like Sphinx like for a lot, and like they're, you know, he's very confused.
He reminds me, I mean, the show also, this, I'm not the first to say this, but he specifically reminds me of Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine. The way his performance is like that too. Very muted and like kind of like hangdog. And people don't really love watching that, I don't think, sometimes.
Yeah, I think if like Severance like gets even like blows up like for season 2, then like he'll get in. So I don't know. Like it'll be cool if he got in because he's never been nominated before.
So do you have Odenkirk in?
Yes, I can't betray Bob.
So I'm betraying him for Costner. The cost.
I know I have Kelly Riley in, but not Kevin Costner.
Our beloved best director presenter, Kevin Costner.
So many years. Just, but like not as lengthy in the 90s. His presentations of best director. No, he like TV episodes now. He went longer this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody else here? I had John C. Reilly for a long time, Joyce, not gonna lie. Put him out. I love him so much, but I just think the fact that it's a tweener performance between comedy and drama, again, I think will kind of maybe hurt him a little, even though he's great on Winning Time.
Yeah, I never had him. So
what about your boy Stumfer, your boy Tom Hiddleston?
He's great, but I think I'm just concentrating on like the music categories and like cinematography and production design for Loki. But you know, it's a great performance. You know, he's been playing this character for over a decade now, and the whole premise of the show allows him to play an old version of Loki, you know, post or like right after Battle of New York when he's like unchanged. But still take him in new directions because of the TVA and like the different timelines. And it's still, he is, you know, still on a path of like finding himself. And like he's different by the end of the season. And then he sees like, you know, he meets a version of himself. And then he learns that like he himself is annoying, which I think is like the best part.
Yeah.
Like someone like that kind of character.
It's great. It remains my favorite Marvel show.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's also the most like cohesive of the Marvel shows. Like even like WandaVision, yes, but I think because it was like paying homage to TV, it got to change every week, you know, so it's not consistent all the way through like Loki is.
WandaVision also, I think my impression of Loki is that it fully stuck the landing. 6 episodes, really tight. WandaVision had, I think, 9 episodes, and I don't think anybody really fondly remembers the finale. Like it's fine, but like not as good as the rest of the show.
That battle at the end. Yeah, and like the battles in Loki are with words. He uses his words.
Yes, I remain disappointed that Catherine Hahn did not show up in Doctor Strange too. I feel like she was like should have been. Like as an alt version or something.
No.
Maybe a deleted scene.
I mean, I think it's enough just to have like Wanda in there.
Yeah, I guess so. Joyce, should we do supporting actress here?
Supporting actress.
So I've got Julia Garner for Ozark, then Sarah Snook for Succession, Jung Ho Yun for Squid Game, J. Smith Cameron for Succession, Christina Ricci for Yellow Jackets, Sydney Sweeney for Euphoria, Sadie Sink for Stranger Things.
You finally put her in.
I did. And Millie Bobby Brown for Stranger Things.
You're doing double Stranger Things when they didn't get a single acting nomination last time.
Yes, I'm bringing it back. No Rhea Seehorn, no Patricia Arquette, no Juliana Margulies. Those are my other options, but I went with the Stranger Things gals.
Okay, sure.
Great show. No notes. Every episode perfectly length and edited. So that's the first
Who I
artist.
talked to? Courtney Cox.
Yes.
And we bonded over how TV shows should just be 30-minute episodes. She was like, I don't need things to be 40 minutes. And I'm like, I feel ya.
Well, I got bad news for Courtney. Stranger Things, 90 minutes, and every minute it counts.
30 minutes. I have a friend in my corner, so we win.
Sadie Sink is awesome. So I'll stump again here. Great. She has a great episode, season 4. It's all like focused on her character almost, and has like really emotional moments. And ends with like the most memeable moment of the season, which is the Kate Bush music cue that has spawned thousands and thousands.
I can't deal with people
thousands of Kate
right
Bush stuff. So that I have her in. And then Millie Bobby Brown I have in because she doesn't have a lot to do this season, but the finale is really focused on 11. And I think she does a really good job with like kind of bringing her back. I also could see, I don't know where, I guess he would be a supporting actor contender, but Jamie Campbell Bower, I think is the man. And we'll talk about
the man. You mean
well, instead of David Harbour, you know what I mean? Like I think he could get in as well. But anyway, those are my 8. We'll see. I'm holding hope for Sydney Sweeney. That's all I'll say. I'm keeping the torch lit.
Okay. I have Sarah in first. I don't think she's winning, but I need to back her. She's obviously getting in. I think Julia will probably win. Her third, which is kind of crazy because she's 28. She'll have 3 Emmys. I have Hoyan, JSC. I still have Rhea, Theorn. I don't know. Eva Keeper. I've kept her, I think, like almost every time, and she's never gotten in. So maybe I should drop her and then she'll get in. I have Christina. And I have Patty and Kim Joo-rung. Yeah. So
it's a double Squid Game. Yeah.
Yeah, double Squid Game and double Succession.
And then Patty Arquette for because we're best friends here. We could call her Patty for Severance. Really fun performance. I don't know. The character, you're not I always go back to, are you rooting? Do you like the character? Not sure you really like her character. And she's not like deliciously villainous enough to.
No, and it's kind of, I don't know, like I just like knew she was like his neighbor, like just because you just never saw her for like the entirety of the episode, like her face when he was talking. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, that's gotta be like her outie.
There was no like real twist there. And then she's doing
and then like the slow reveal, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever.
She's got that like the affectation of her voice slightly different.
Yeah. And then but you know, you said you were impressed by Oscar Isaac's dual rose.
I was. I'm not as impressed with Patty Arquette's.
Okay.
Oscar Isaac has to do 2 different voices, like accent work.
Is that it?
That's it. I'm like, he looks British dude and then like a non-British dude. So Patty Arquette, maybe season 2, she could get an accent. She could talk with a British accent.
I mean, people usually like phase out like an accent, like Elizabeth Olsen, and you know, like what happened to Wanda's like Sokovian accent? Just
doesn't
like,
exist.
You don't usually see people gain an accent.
No, but maybe. No, that's what I got there. This is a very crowded. Again, this is one of those categories you could tell me like any number of people get in. I don't have her predicted, obviously, and I would not. But Sally Field for Winning Time, I could easily see getting in based on name recognition alone. And she has a death scene, and she's like really memorable in her like 5 or 6 scenes.
Yeah, she's not actually in it a lot.
She's not, but she's Sally Field, and I'm like, I could see her getting in. Honestly, I don't think she will, but I could see it. I could see like something like one of these, you know, like I don't know, Andrea Martin from Evil, or like, you know, one of those shows getting in here. One of the Bridgerton gals.
Bridgerton only got like reggae last year, so
I know.
It's I don't know like how, like the thing with Stranger Things and acting is like they've never overperformed in acting, and then like they dropped David and Millie Bobby Brown.
So here's why I was thinking they could this year is because the timing of it was actually right on, right? It came right at the end here. And so it's like top of mind, and it's definitely the most popular show at the moment, taking up all available oxygen online. And so if people are like paying attention to that at all, and like even if they're like, oh, I want to check out what the Sadie Sink episode is, I think if they actually watch it, because the visibility is so high, that would get her in perhaps. And then Millie Bobby Brown would just be like a name check.
But they didn't name check her last time.
But I think it was more maybe competitive last time, I would say. I don't know. It just feels like there's more not newcomers, but there's less recognizable names this time, maybe.
I mean, they could easily just go back to Fiona Shaw. Like, I don't have her in, but I'm not going to be surprised if Fiona Shaw gets.
I don't have her in because I'm not as into the last season of Killing Eve.
But again, completely irrelevant when it comes to that.
True. They could just not even watch it and just be like, yeah, I like her last time.
Yeah. I mean, like Yoo Jung-yoon, she's in 7th. I don't know. Like, I feel like, Severance just really took the spotlight from Pachinko. Like they overlapped for several weeks, but I felt like all the hype for Pachinko was like the premiere.
Yes.
And it's a very good show. Also, I would not recommend binging it. It's heavy.
Yeah. That's the other thing with like we talked about that, I think, with like Underground Railroad style. Like that's a show that maybe you should not have waited to binge.
It was a weekly release.
I know. But I'm saying if you were waiting around to binge it, poor choice.
Yeah, I would probably watch an episode a day if you really want to get through it, but I don't know if you binge it in a whole day. There's your favorite show, This Is Us. Chrissy Metz down in 22nd place. Former nominee, but
I don't think she's gonna get in. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the acting conversation was around Sterling and man. I don't
even think it's around Sterling at all. Like this is from
definitely Mandy.
I don't think it's actually been about Sterling since the first season, but like people just love him,
right?
And like he's like the reliable like nominee for them,
right?
But it's definitely been about Mandy.
And yeah, so I don't know. For supporting actor Joyce, I think we have like similar ones here, probably Matthew McFadden and Kieran Culkin and Nicholas Braun and Alan Ruck. So we got 4 Succession guys. Got Billy Crudup for The Morning Show, John Turturro for Severance, and then 2 Better Call Sauls, Giancarlo Esposito and Jonathan Banks. That's my list here.
You're still anti Squid Game in here.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, so that's our only difference.
Right. So who do you have in instead of? So you have Young So, and then who do you have out?
John Turturro.
Oh, you have Turturro out. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I'd say that's 8. He's probably the most vulnerable, but
I mean, I'm not even confident in like Jonathan Banks, or I mean, maybe a little bit more Giancarlo since they just seem to nominate him for anything now. Better Call Saul, Mandalorian doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's why. That's honestly why I haven't
time and dropped Jonathan. So.
People I could have put in that I did not. Adrian Brody for Winning Time.
Who you're talking to.
So love that. Love that for me. Love that for him. Great actor.
So after you talk to him, you'll put him in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. David Harbour for Stranger Things. He actually has a couple of really great monologues. I think the issue with him being nominated here would be that in the final calculus, when you look back on the season, the stuff with Hopper, this is not going to make any sense to you because you're not watching it. But the stuff with Hopper, he's in like a Russian prison camp and it doesn't really connect to anything that's happening with the rest of the main story. And even though it's like spread out over 7 episodes so far, all the action in the Russian prison camp feels like it's taking place in like one day. And so it's kind of like a little insignificant.
As I talked to someone who you also know on Friday, she was like, they could have just cut all the Joyce and Hopper stuff out and go straight into season 5 with them.
Not wrong. I think there's a couple of great Hopper scenes. I don't think of the stuff this season, the Joyce stuff is definitely the least compelling. Joyce is in a
true to me.
True to you. Joyce is in Alaska with her friend Murray, who is played by Brett Gelman, and then they get kidnapped by Russian agents. And
but you're the only person I know who loves the separate storyline. So I know several people who've watched the show by now. Great. And they are not into that aspect of it because it's like they know they're like eventually they're all going to come back together by the end of the season.
Great.
So like and like not all of the separate plots work and the different locations.
So here's how it would break down. The main Hawkins stuff remains the best. So that
everyone agrees about that.
And that this year is Sadie Sink, Joe Keery, like it's like the main characters minus like the leads, honestly, which is actually really funny. And it's interesting to me because like they seem like they're the group of actors who are most into the show at this point compared to like the really famous actors. Like you'd have to say like Millie Bobby Brown, David Harbour, and Winona Ryder are like the top of the call sheet, right? And then everybody else. And then so everybody else is really into it, I feel like, and great. So that's great in Hawkins. Then you have in California, Eleven and Mike and Will. That stuff's pretty good, actually. And the 11 stuff I think is really compelling. She ends up in like a Area 51, I guess, in some kind of prison. I don't know. So that stuff's pretty good. And then you have Hopper in Russian prison. His stuff in the prison is okay. And then you have Joyce flying to save Hopper. That stuff is the least compelling. So that's how I break it down. And they do spend most of the time in Hawkins, to be perfectly honest. So it's not that bad.
None of the people I know are like into all the split stories. So
they got to get on my wavelength, Joyce. That's it.
No.
That's it. The show rules.
Well, see, the other thing is, it's like, you know, the people like you just mentioned when you were like the most famous people, they're original cast members. Like Winona Ryder already has a hard enough time trying to get a nomination,
right,
as an original cast member, and are like definitely the most famous person when the show started.
Sure.
And you know, people like Jamie and Sadie, they were cast additions later on in the show.
Right.
So it's like, and remember, like we talked about this, like for season 2, people were like, no, it's not like nominee. Did not happen.
Felt not real though, to me.
That did not happen.
I don't think that was going to happen.
that was like their entire like phase 1 campaign, like Noah.
I didn't believe that at all. The Sadie Sink stuff I could believe. I think she's like legitimately good. And like, you have Winona Ryder comparing her like Meryl Streep. She's like the Meryl Streep of her generation. That was what
I mean, I do think it helps Sadie that she's a lot, well, not a lot, but like several years older than Noah was back then.
Right. And I think she's got a little more visibility than Noah outside of Stranger Things, because she was like in the Taylor Swift video.
I mean, I don't think people care about that, but sure.
I think they
you care about that.
I do. So who do you have here, Joyce? You have that. That's it. You have Oh Young So, and that's it. The same group.
Yes. And so you moved Matthew to first after my like Kieran Culkin is Gene Smart.
Yes.
Theory. So
I think Matthew, you actually said this, I think first way back when, is that Matthew's the type of performance that doesn't win anything but like one Emmy. It's not going to win like any precursor stuff.
Yeah. And I also love that like sometimes like the Emmys like just have like their faves that they award sometimes multiple times, and like these people don't get awarded at other places, like, you know, until Hacks, like Jean Smart fell into that boat. She had 3 Emmys,
right? And
you know, now she's like swept everything for Hacks, but you know, she won her 4th Emmy for Hacks, but like she was like an Emmy queen. You know, Regina King, she has 4 Emmys. She's never been nominated at SAG. You know, and
I feel like with Matthew and with Tom specifically, this was so clearly the Tom season. And I think if you're ever going to give him an Emmy for this character, this would obviously be the time. If he doesn't win here, I have a hard time believing that he'll have as good of a season in season 4. I mean, it would be great, but he could because of like the way it ended, but also the way Succession has worked in the past. I feel like certainly going between seasons 2 and 3, I feel like Jesse Armstrong is very aware of what the audience thinks of the characters and the allegiances to the characters, and then immediately like kind of just like throw cold water on that. You could argue like the show was definitely very Kendall focused in season 2 and ended with like Kendall on top, and then season 3 systematically dismantled Kendall throughout the whole season, right? Like he was either completely hateful or embarrassing or completely sidelined for half of the, you know what I mean? Like he was not as prominently figured in the narrative. This last season was much more Roman and Tom focused, I think.
I think like the theory that everyone had is like every season will like focus on like one of the siblings as the potential heir. So like season 1 was supposed to be Kendall, and then like season 2 was more Shiv focused, and then everyone was like season 3 would be Roman. And yeah, like definitely towards the end with like all the mats and stuff,
right?
You know, so now like with Tom helping out Logan, everyone's like season 4 is going to be Tom.
I don't believe that. I could see it not happening. I don't know. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it's going to be as easy. I don't think it'll be as obvious as that.
No, and like Jesse is always kind of not like outright denied it, but just, you know, like like he's like hedged like his answers about that. It's just like, you know, like people can think like whatever they want to think, or, you know, theorize whatever. So, and yeah, I don't really think like season 3, because season 3 was so much about, you know, like Kendall betraying Logan, and then like he was definitely like off on his own. So I don't think it was like as super Roman focused as some people, especially like while season 2 was airing, like people thought season 3 would be, because season 2 was like very shift, because obviously he was like, you're gonna, it's you know, in the beginning, and the season 2 premiere.
I think it is, I don't know, I think it is Roman focused, because you have like, so you have in the beginning, obviously they're untangling the Kendall stuff, but then like once 4, 5, 6 hit, you have like
yeah, like the back end, yeah,
the back end is very Roman focused, and like Roman ascendant, and then Roman taken down. I mean, he has like the best, he has
but
the
like
best arc.
again, like he's like, it's still like it's over.
Right.
I mean, I guess it always ends with them, it's over for them at the end, but it's not like the entire season was about like
no
Roman.
No, but it's not like the second season was all about Shiv either. I don't know. I feel like Kendall,
but it's like literally in the premiere, he's like, it's you,
right,
in the Summer Palace,
right. Yeah, I guess
and
that's
then
true.
she fucks it up.
Like always. She's like a permanent fuck
She
up.
just can't get out her own way.
She's the permanent.
She needs the credit for it. She like, tell everyone it's me.
It's amazing. Oh, that was the best. That episode, the show, what a great show. Joyce. Oh. I don't know. I was looking at a list. I think it was James Andrew Miller did for Puck. He ranked like every Succession episode. Was it him or whatever? Let me look this up quick. Yeah, it was. And he I didn't agree with a lot of his picks. He really kind of like went down on season 3. He was not as high on season 3 as I think I was. And I'm like, is that a thing that people did not like season 3? Because I feel like when it was airing, we were all like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
What did he have, like all 9 episodes, like the bottom 9 or something?
I'm looking now if I can load it up. So his number 20, I'll just read through this. This is the newsletter site Puck. You need a subscription for this, Joyce, which of course I have. The Disruption was his lowest ranked episode, season 3, episode 3, when Kendall gets publicly drubbed by both Shiv and a late night comedy host. That's a wrong. That's already, you're starting off on a wrong foot.
Yeah, no.
28.
That ends in the raid and Nicholas Bertel's.
I know.
Score.
Then the 28th best episode, season 3, episode 2, Mass in the Time of War, where Shiv is offered Waystar presidency and Kendall works with a new legal team. That is definitely a filler episode, but I don't think it's like the worst.
That was the second episode, but that had like the scene in his daughter's bedroom.
Yep. And then the third worst episode, according to him, this is James Andrew Miller on Puck, Secession, season 3, episode 1. So already like his bottom 3, the first 3 of season 3. And then the 26th worst episode, Too Much Birthday, which I completely disagree with. That's like one of the top 10. Oh
my God, iconic episode. All bangers all the time.
And then the 25, season 3, episode 6, when Logan spearhunts the What It Takes, where Logan spearheads the hunt for a next GOP
I would
candidate.
Say that's but Justin Kirk.
Right, amazing episode. I love that episode. It's really good. So then he's got all of those. Then 23, so 24 was Lifeboats, season 1, episode 3. And then 23 was Lying in the Meadow with Josh Aronson. Completely wrong.
Oh my God.
James Andrew Miller, if you happen to be watching this, talk to us next time you do a Succession list, because you got some weird ideas, bro. Let's see. We'll go to the top. I'll just read you off the top 10 while we're here. Number 1 is the season 1 finale.
Okay.
Number 2 is the season 3 finale.
Okay.
And number
3, the 2 finale?
Yes. And then the number 4 is the season 1 penultimate episode with the Shiv's wedding, prenuptial. And then number 5 and 6 are Jesse's and Turnhaven, which is what made me think of this.
I love our Jesse's. That's actually my
favorite
run
run
of season 2, underrated episode.
7th best episode according to this list is Shantyshire, season 3, episode 8, where Kendall ends up drowning and people spent a week talking about whether he was dead, myself included. Number 8 is Hunting, season 2, episode 3, which I think is Bore on the Floor, right?
Yes.
And number 9, Which Side Are You On, which is one of my personal favorites, when Kendall is left running down the street trying to usurp Logan, and Logan's like, fuck off, you lost.
So sweaty.
Just the best. And the 10th best return, season 2, episode 7, where Rhea takes on Shiv and Kendall finds himself face to face with the aftermath of his car accident.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was a good episode for Jeremy.
Yeah. So that's the top 10 according to him. But like I said, that was all out of the season 3. Almost half the season is the bottom of this list. And I just don't believe that. I think season 3 was great.
Yeah. I would rank most like season 1 episodes towards the bottom.
I would say personally,
I still love season 1, but I think season 2 and 3 are so much stronger.
I would say personally, the season 1 does not really actually kick in and work for me until Which Side Are You On? I found like that to be the best. That's like the turning point episode.
So in my experience, especially like during like lockdown, like 2 years ago, when people were like starting to watch Succession or like catching up on Succession, and even like when season 2 was airing and I was telling my friends to watch it and they were like, do I have to watch season 1? And I say yes. And then I think I've said this before, but I think people watch the show the wrong way because like I think they want them to be liked. I'm like, no, they're just assholes. But like you do like get invested in them, and they eventually become likable to you because you care about what they're going through, even though they're complete assholes. But yeah, the first, and I tell them like it like picks up like halfway through season 1. So then it's like they try to like force themselves to get there to watch it, and then like they watch it and they love it, but it's like they're not immediately invested in like from the pilot because like they're dicks.
I found that like it's funny, like the pilot definitely feels like a pilot to me. Obviously they all look different. Like Shiv is dressed like granola, basically. They got her in like chunky linen, chunky sweaters, and like her long hair, it just looks so strange. And she's like the liberal one, right, basically, in that calculus. And Roman,
and that's also why people think like Shiv is the good one, because she's like the woman and like the moderate liberal, and it's like, no, she's just as bad as all of them.
But the funny thing is, I think in the pilot she was the good one. Like I think the pilot, the way they set him up in the pilot is not like really how the show is. I know,
but like especially in season 2, like when she actually like you really see how in DC.
She's a horrible person. I love Roman in the pilot. I found like incredibly awful, like to not a fun awful, just awful. Like they really did a great job of like adjusting these characters. But I think the premise of the show, or the thing I love about Succession, and I feel like certainly in season 2 and especially season 3, is the way it just builds so much momentum, and it's just such a thrilling watch, even though like nothing is happening, in air quotes, you know what I mean? It's not like an action show. And the season 1, when episode 6 is like, they got the tone and the pace like exactly right, because it's like so thrilling watching Kendall try to get back for the board meeting.
I always say I have no idea what they're talking about, but I care so much.
Oh my god! And he's like running down the street and breaking up, and like Romulus, put your hand. It's like so good. Just
coming back from Long Island, I'm like,
it's just the best. It is really a great episode, and from there, and it ends with that great shot of like Jeremy in the street, just like destroyed. Just a fantastic way to like launch into the final 4 episodes. And so like, yeah, I do think that's when the season picks up. But season 2, unimpeachable. Season 3, I think, is the best season, my baby, yet. I love season 3. I thought it was so good. So
I love season 3. I know some people have some issues with season 3 because I think they wanted more of a war between Logan and Kendall, which I never really expected.
Well, that's how they set it up. I mean, that's definitely how they set up this season.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't, it's sort of like the hacks thing. Like, I didn't expect them to like drag out like the email either. And I like that they didn't do that. Like,
well, they kind of did though with hacks, right? They made it a whole season long run.
Yeah, but I mean like Jean or Deborah finding out about it.
Oh yeah, they did not keep that a secret. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Also, like they just mentioned like the lawsuit as a joke, really. So
right.
Yeah, it's like she finds out, and then it's like, I'm suing you. So that's a great way to handle it. Like it's not something like hanging over the season.
Right.
So it's just like a way of like subverting expectations.
Right. Joyce, this is great. I love when we get to talk about Succession. This makes the Emmy season so much better already. I feel like that we're back into our Succession mode.
No one listened to this part at all. So.
No, we'll get I hope you stuck with it. James Andrew Miller, I appreciate your work. You're a great guy. Just rethink season 3 of Succession. That's all I'm saying.
That's just your opinion, man.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for when the nominations come out and we can get to see the guest Emmys for these categories. I'm very excited.
Well, I mean, we could do that with the ballots.
Yeah.
So
maybe next time, Joyce.
So we'll see the guest submissions.
Yeah. All right. This is fun, Joyce. Talk to you soon.